Welcome back to Pokemon Colosseum. I'm your host, DeoGenZ, and today, we're gonna go to a lot. Are we gonna stay there for a lot of time? I hope not, because I want to head to Pyrite Town? What the heck is that thing floating in the sky? This is the strangest region I've ever seen in a Pokemon game. Thugs running around everywhere, stealing Pokemon from who knows who, from Pokemon that who knows where they were obtained. Is there a nursery anywhere? I don't know. Maybe it's underground. Maybe it's that floating thing that I just saw. Maybe that's what this whole game's about. Obtaining that floating nursery. Can we go in? No. It's not accessible to us right now, because it's still under construction. But my, what a pretty floating thing that was. And there we go. That's what I was wanting to head towards, Pyrite Town. The place of shady people and perhaps more shadow Pokemon. Oh, what a cool zoom out and zoom around lens of the town. Oh, Mr. Johnson, give a man a break. I keep telling you I don't know anything. That better be true, Kale. If you're trying to con me, I'll know about it. Mr. Johnson, sir, I wouldn't think about lying to you. You've got to believe me, right? Alright, fine. I'll let you off easy today. See you. What a nitwit. Of course I haven't got a thing to say to you. Yeah. Rule 1 of the Church of What's Happening Now. Keep your mouth shut and your own business. And that certainly applies to Pyrite Town. This place is tough, grimy, gringy, dingy, metallic all over the place too. All kinds of metal panels into the ground. You think for a place that's so poor, why would they waste their resources on putting metal into the ground? Nobody thought they could stand on dirt anymore? Alright, that's fine. Perhaps they thought it would make a better battle arena. And, you know what? They're right. It does look more stunning. Seeing the rustic buildings in the background. The 3D renditions of some familiar faces in the foreground. It's all good on days of Pokemon double battles. Alright, so let's wrap this up nice and fast here. I want to make sure to use my strong special sweeper, Espeon, to take out the more tough, potentially tough, I should say, yawning, gulping target. Oh, the death animations, they crack me up time and time again in this game. I'm so happy to be finally having the time to do a walkthrough of this, because this is truly one of my favorite games and greatest game of memories. You know, that's something that games do greatly for me. In a time and a place, what I was doing, when I was doing it, whatever game I was playing, whatever year that was, I don't remember my years by ages. I remember my years by what game I was playing at that time. Maybe you're similar. And if so, comment below. What game makes you reminisce about nostalgia? What? This square. This is where you saw the strange Pokemon? I tried to leave the town, and then that's when those creeps grabbed me. We should be careful. Even at best times, there are scary things everywhere. Okay, well, that's fine. We've got ourselves Pokeballs. 3 awesome Pokemon. Quite frankly, some of my favorite Pokemon of the 2nd gen. I think we've got this handled. If there's any shadow Pokemon that are roaming around here, we'll see them and snag them. That's what this snag machine on my arm's all about. Snagging us some choice shadow Pokemon. For our own power. I mean purification. Purification. Oh, nice! Misdreavus. Yep, it's all coming back to me. I remember this Misdreavus. That will be very handy on our team for sure. So let's get this annoying supporter out of the way, and it hangs on by a sliver. That bastard. Shadow Ball. Oh, that's tough. Damn. That's tough. While Umbreon has some great special defensive skills, and could have taken that Shadow Ball like a champ, being a Dark type, it wouldn't have been very effective. Espeon, not so much. It's got a bit more troubles in that area. Shadow Rush, it's interesting from regular moves, because being a Shadow move, only Shadow Pokemon can have it. It doesn't have any type. So it's not super effective ever, and it's not resisted ever, so it's kind of the overall bland move. You're never going to feel super success with a Shadow Pokemon's Shadow Rush Strike, but in Hyper Mode, if we ever get to see that, the move becomes even more powerful and deadly. However, that's when things get unstable. And when it comes to Hyper Mode, I'd rather try to help my Pokemon pals out and bring them down to Earth, bring them back to Pyrite Town, back to the battlegrounds. This way they could be a bit more purified. And it's not just because I'm a nice guy. No, it's for self-interest, because as soon as we can get them purified, as soon as we can start to grow levels again. They can start to integrate with our team. Right now, this one Shadow Quilava that we have is strongest. That's the nice thing about the borders. We can check back to see who on our team, and now we're going to have 2 level 30s, really reigns supreme. Stay in the ball. Yes! Alright, so we're 2 for 3. And that third will come back. I will get that Makuhita, I swear it. But level is not everything. Sometimes the most trustworthy fellows of your team, Umbreon and Espeon, are going to come in a pinch when your shadows are not listening to you. That's right. One of the stipulations of Shadow Pokemon, especially when they enter into this elusive hyper mode that I speak of, they can get very crazy. They can disobey attacks. They can not attack. They might attack you, the trainer. You know, actually, I don't recall. It's been so long since I've played this game. Do they actually attack the trainer ever if you leave them in hyper mode long enough? I don't know. I never tried it. I never was trying to torment my Pokemon in that way. But I do believe that they won't be able to use items as well. So that makes things very dangerous as you dwindle in health. You won't be able to recall them, and if you have no revives, you're pretty much up the creek without a paddle. And actually, if I am remembering the mechanics of Hyper Mode correctly, if one of your members faints in Hyper Mode, they remain in Hyper Mode, in fainting. So you can't use revives on them, actually. Not so sure if this is true or not, if I'm recalling it right, but once we get into Hyper Mode, we'll be able to experiment a bit more. That's what was another great factor of this game. You did not know everything from the onset. You had the mysteries to unravel with these shadow Pokemon. Ow, wow, 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 I'm sorry, Chief. You see, Chief, there's a talk of thugs that have been witnessed using strange Pokemon. Huh, Chief? You're not the Chief. I beg your pardon? I'm here, Johnson. That story isn't new. Oh, Chief, there you are. You're such a cuter. Yeah. The reason I came over here was to show you there is no Pokemon Center in Pyrite Town. If you want to get your Pokemon healed, you have to pay a price at a hotel, or be clever, put your Pokemon in the box, and then take them out of the box. It is as simple as that. And then when you withdraw them again, they will be rehealed. So this is a free, quick way to get your Pokemon back to full health, get back to the battle square, and be on your merry way of collecting more shadows. And we should save. I learned the terrors of not saving by not having the motivation to start over. You would have thought that after all the times I started over my first original game with no memory card, I would have found it to be easy. But nope, I did not want to do it. We'll get that Makuhita. I tell you, we will. My name's Cheryl's. I'm the chief. Cheryl's? Like sheriff? That's, again, a hilarious name. Oh, wow. This town has descended into lawless chaosness. Or lawlessness and chaos. Lawless chaosness. Chaosness, lawlessness. Maybe. Pokeballlessness. All of the above. Because there are no need for Pokeballs in this town, except for me, because I'm going to snag them all. I don't think there's any wild Pokemon around here. If the 5th gen was around at this time, I could certainly see Trubbish being around in this area. And now Nover sends out a Noctowl. And a Lediba. Lejaba. Man, all those cool buildings in the background that you can't enter. Oh, actually, that might be the hotel back there. What does she see? Oh, good. I'm glad it's the Noctowl. I did not feel like having a Lejaba on my team. Noctowl's pretty cool, though. Has the ability to hypnotize its foes. So if we had sleeping status on our team, you could snag them a lot smoother. Of course, capturing Pokemon, you know, like I said, you may not know all the mechanics of the Shadow Pokemon from the onset, but the original mechanics that you know from the RPGs of capturing and training, that all holds true here. The type advantages and disadvantages, the only thing you have to be aware of, really, is that Shadow Rush has no type, and that Hyper Mode will make them more intense. So once you got that down, the type advantage is the same. Type advantage, disadvantage. And if you can get some sort of status on your foe, they'll be a lot easier to cram into the ball. But beware fire, poison. I would really highly only recommend paralysis and sleep, especially when it comes to shadows. Maybe you haven't noticed this whole time, but every time a Shadow Pokemon uses Shadow Rush, recoil damage is done. See? We'll see this with Mischievous. Every time, a little bit of recoil. So that normally would be helping your cause. Aha! Hyper Mode. Here we go. That normally would be helping your cause if it was a wild Pokemon that you could see again. But some of these shadows are not obtainable once you defeat them. Luckily, I think any Pokemon you witness in this battle square, you converse the trainer once more as many times as you'd like once you enter and exit a building. So that's the benefit of Battle Square. Any Shadow Pokemon you see here, much like the Makuhita, can be reobtained. But when you get into the battles where you won't be seeing those shadows anytime soon or ever again, it becomes very tedious to mess around in the orange or even red area of a Pokemon's health when they continue to pretty much commit suicide with Shadow Rush. But with some Shadow Pokemon, they have no other option. Either they've exhausted all their other moves, or they are willingly, the AI is being a dick to you, and they do not want you to get this Shadow. So they're like, sacrifice it, sacrifice it! If he doesn't get it, or if she doesn't get it, whoever is the controller, then we will win! Our programming will claim the Shadow for itself. I like to think that it's programmers against the player, and if they can claim more shadows than the player, then the game has won. Truly it has. Of course, you can get through the game, just like any other Pokemon game, without capturing all the Pokemon that it has to offer. I wouldn't recommend doing that, being hasty to skip any free shadows that you can snag, even if it's a Noctowl. Maybe it's not your favorite. But you could still transfer it once it's purified, and that can help your Pokedex over in the GBA generation games. And then further down the line through Pal Park and Diamond and Pearl, and further down the line in the 5th gen. Boy, do these Pokemon travel. Perhaps you don't have any of the 3rd generation GBA games and you say, well, I don't care about the Pokedex, but you don't know how many shadows you're going to take, and with that kind of attitude nonchalantly picking up shadow Pokemon like they're wild, then you will not have many options come the final bouts of battles. And I don't know if it's going to be a champion or a master thug we face, but you're going to want to make sure your team has many options to train between. And even though we start out capturing these shadows at mid-ranged evolutions, this Skiploom here, it starts out as a Hoppip, but it's already been trained apparently by this trainer, or wherever the trainer got the Shadow Pokemon from. I don't see a snag machine on her arm. Not so sure how she got Shadow Pokemon. Maybe this whole town is a gang. Who knows? Who knows? But the benefit, once they're purified, is that they will evolve. Evolution can't happen, of course, because they can't level up in a shadow form. The good thing about this, you may be thinking, well damn, I'm missing all the experience with them being shadows, right? Wrong. Nope. Thankfully the game was smart, or the programmers rather were smart in making the game keep track of all the experience that would have been gained by your shadow Pokemon in whatever battles they face. So if you mainline one shadow, then by the time you get to purify them, they might have an evolution already set for you, and they may be able to relearn moves that were blocked out by Shadow Rush. So there's a big motivation in this game to purify as many Pokemon as possible. But it's important to note, if you're a casual player, don't be turned away from the fact that it's not a requirement, or do enjoy this game because it's not a requirement to capture all shadows to get through it. It's your choice. Maybe you'll do a Nuzlocke sort. Now that would be interesting, a Nuzlocke of Colosseum. Has it ever been done? If anybody knows, certainly PM me, because I'm sure if you tried to post anything in the comments that would be a YouTube link, it wouldn't show up. But a PM of a Nuzlocke of Colosseum, that would be rather interesting. I imagine it would have to be done with lots and lots of potions. And it would be pretty hard in the beginning because you can't battle too many trainers. The Colosseum in Phoenix City is closed to us. If we go in at this time, we'll be turned away because of our shadow Pokemon. Or at least Chi will tell us that we really shouldn't be bringing these shadow Pokemons onto a main Colosseum stage. But that is 6. That's a full roster. Not 6 shadows, but 4 shadows, and that's a full roster of 6 on our side. The good thing about this town, since we're kind of shunned from the more opulent Phoenix City, is the Battle Square. It offers a bounty of experience and shadow diminishment if you want to get all your partners down to the lowest level of shadow possible for purification when the time comes. I do believe that even if you pilfer one of these trainers' Pokemon that happens to be a shadow, and then you enter and exit a building, they will actually take you on as many times as you want them to. So that works to your benefit greatly. We need to level up our main team of Espeon and Umbreon and try and help these shadow Pokemon that we've snagged. All of level 30, interestingly enough. I wonder if that's the standard procedure. Get a Pokemon at level 30, and that would explain why some of them are evolved and some of them are at their final evolutions, others are not. Misdreavus at this time had no form to go into Mismagius, interestingly enough. But if 30 is the standard, I wonder if Pokemon of a different level could not be turned into shadows. Nah, couldn't be. Couldn't be, but I wonder where the operation is going on. You have to wonder, kind of follow the trickle of shadow Pokemon as if it was a stream. Where is this stream coming from? What body of water is this leaching out of? Aquifers don't come from thin air. They come from massive underground pulsations of water. It's all amassed in one area. So, if we think of it as that, if we think of these shadow Pokemon as the water that's seeping through the cracks of pyrite, and as we see how worn down this town is, there are many a crack for these shadow Pokemon to seep. I'm guessing the main operation is somewhere around here. I've got a hunch. And what is she doing with... Is that a crop? Is that a magic wand? A baton? She looks like she's ready to put on a show. But here she is, flaunting a shadow Pokemon. Yes, I already told them that Shadow Rush does not get affected by any type. But yep, like I said, if you don't get the shadow Pokemon first, try again. Sometimes we're just too strong for our own good. And maybe you could consider this in a way of gym spamming, if you've ever done this in your RPG game, where you're too weak to take on the gym of that area yet, but you keep heading back to it anyway to take on the main leader, fight some of the strong Pokemon, take out the ones you can, and then be defeated on purpose. This way you get more experience points. So I suppose that strategy could certainly work here in fighting a bunch of strong level 30 Shadow Pokemon. The only thing you have to be aware of, though, is how much can you take tedium in facing the same Pokemon over and over again. And also, if you waste time battling the Shadow Pokemon only for experience, well, then you're not really doing the main purpose of purification as one of the main goals of 100% walkthrough, which I'm doing here. And I'm glad that Mr. Vis is getting into a fevered pitch time and time again. Like I said, I don't mess around with hyper mode. Maybe if we're in some kind of struggle, if we're in a bind and hyper mode comes about, then maybe I'll use Shadow Rush, but I'm only going to use it as a last resort. Any other time, I immediately try to call my Shadow Pokemon, get them to diminish that Shadow level and be more of an open-hearted soul. Get in the ball! Yumo Guegue Fai Mizao, Yumo Guegue Fai Miz. Yes! The chant still works! Huzzah! Flaffy is ours. And Mr. Vis is now more calm and is bonded better with the trainer. I think that this game questioned the morality of Pokemon much better than any evil team does, especially Team Plasma. I mean, Team Plasma has interesting ideals for a Pokemon evil organization, I suppose. But this game definitely gets you to question the morality a lot more when you're fighting with these Pokemon that are built to be battlers of war battalions. That's what these hyper modes are all meant to be about, raising the Pokemon's power to its max potential and then some. Pushing it further than the bounds of its power normally would go. And that's something far greater to think about than, oh, we're just going to steal everybody's weak Patrats and Trubbishes, and we're going to act like we've done something crazy. No, this is crazy. You've closed the heart to this Mr. Vis so much, it can't see straight for 2 seconds to battle. I gotta keep calling it. But, hey, I can't complain. The more we call, the more purified it will be. Perfect. Okay, so going back to Yumo Guegue Fai Mizao, this, when I was playing it around that time on the WB Kids, not only was Pokemon out, but there was another animated series that I fancied very much called Jackie Chan Adventures. And that was an awesome series, awesome animated kid show that I still watch when I want to find a good funny, because the voice acting in that is hilarious, and with Uncle and Jackie, and oh man, if anybody remembers that series, comment below, shout outs, because that was an awesome series. And because of that, you know how magic must defeat magic. That's what Uncle would always say. Jackie! Dark magic must be defeated by magic! He would chant the Yumo Guegue Fai Mizao, and he would shoot the pufferfish at whatever evildoer he was dealing with that day to get the talismans back. And when me and my brother would play this game, he wouldn't play, but he'd watch, and we'd sort of do commentary before there was any LP commentaries back in the day. We thought, oh, these shadow Pokemon must be some sort of dark magic. Jackie! Dark magic must be defeated by magic! Good magic! Yumo Guegue Fai Mizao. And then we just kept doing that. And that was sort of our ritual for getting shadow Pokemon to stay inside the Pokeball. So if I do that from time to time, now you know the story why. It was all thanks to Jackie Chan Adventures. But we'll see how successful that chant will be. Can good magic really defeat dark magic? Is this even magic, or just sick science? I'm thinking more along the terms of sick science now that I've had further years since the Jackie Chan adventures, I've learned more about psychology and if it applies to Pokemon in the same sense. If you isolate them, would they go insane? They might just be that way. Look at that Quagsire. Has no love in its eyes. Of course, its heart is closed, so any shadow Pokemon would look like that, but really, get a good stare at its eyes. Even Mischievous has some life in her eyes, but Quagsire? It's dead. Okay, it's not dead. It's definitely there. It's sentient, but it looks pretty stupid. And I'm just kidding. That's mean to say. Quagsire is a good Pokemon. He's a sturdy water ground type. Great for canceling out electric moves. It's more of a slap in the face when you see that face after you're getting set to launch a massive thunder. It's like, thunder! Expecting to win the match. Quag. Oh, damn. My entire plot was cancelled out by that pitiful thing. Well, I do love Quagsire, so Yumo Guegue Fai Mizao Yumo Gueg. Yes! The chant is strong still. The magic. It must be magic. Maybe I'm getting all too psychological and negative, pessimistic, and worn out on the thoughts of what could be making these closed-hearted Pokemon. Maybe it is just dark magic. Well, whatever it is, we will have to find out in the next episode of my Pokemon Colosseum 100% walkthrough. See you next time.